Hey guys, today I have an important update with regards to the stimulus checks, stimulus package, as well as the new interim bill. I'm going to be addressing key questions that you have been asking with the stimulus checks and stimulus package, as well as go over the status of the new interim bill, which will provide funding for small businesses. So if you are someone who has not yet received your stimulus check, you're experiencing errors with receiving it, or if you're someone who owns a small business and would like to receive funding from the PPP program or EIDL program, this video is for you, so keep on watching. What's up everybody, Michael here, welcome back to another video. Before we get started, please be sure to like the video down below and leave a comment with your takeaways, thoughts, or questions that you have on today's video. So anyways, before we get into the stimulus check and stimulus package, I quickly want to go over some important information with the interim bill. The interim bill is currently being debated in the Senate, and as of last night, they had agreed upon $300 billion for the Payment Protection Program, as well as $50 billion to be added to the EIDL program. However, the reason this bill hasn't been approved by the Senate yet is because they cannot agree on how much money should be used for hospitals and how much money should be given to coronavirus testing. So once they are able to agree on how much money should be used for coronavirus testing and for hospitals, then this bill should be approved and it should move on to be approved by the House of Representatives, and then hopefully later in this week it could be approved by the President. What this means is if you own a small business and you are looking to receive PPP money or EIDL grants, then you should be able to start applying for these again and you should be able to get money, because the PPP program had run out of its $350 billion last week on Thursday. So now with this additional funding, you should be able to receive more money. Moving on, I want to quickly address an important piece of news that came out with regards to the stay-at-home order. And this is that a number of states, some of which include Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, they are lifting their stay-at-home order on April 30th. And a number of other states in the US are also doing the same thing on April 30th. However, all of this depends on your state's governors and what your state governor decides. So make sure to look up what the decision is for your state. I'll include a link to the site down below so you can check out what is going on with your individual state, if it's going to be lifting its stay-at-home order, what is going on, because each state is very different. However, this is exciting news because a number of states are going to start getting back to normal life, opening up their economies. The one thing to keep in mind with this is that a lot of public health officials are concerned because they do not think that enough coronavirus testing is in place to allow people to start returning to normal lives and interacting with other people. They believe that if we open up too soon and don't have the testing in place, well then it can cause a second round and a second outbreak of the coronavirus. Next up is that late last night, President Trump announced that there will be a temporary ban on immigration to the US during the coronavirus. He said that they were doing this in order to protect American jobs. With the basic information covered on the interim bill, as well as important news going on in the economy, let's get into the stimulus checks and stimulus package. I want to address the first issue, which is there's a rumor going around that your stimulus check can be seized by debt collectors. And actually, this is true, because in the CARES Act, there's no clause that states that debt collectors cannot seize your checks. However, a number of state governors said that it is off limits for debt collectors to seize the checks. So check on your state, because if you haven't received your stimulus check yet and it says it was delivered to your correct address, correct location, it could possibly be, it's not likely, but it could be that debt collectors seized your check. Moving on, I want to talk about people who receive Social Security benefits, VA benefits, and railroad retirement benefits. I'm going to go over when each of these groups of people should expect to receive their stimulus checks. If you receive SSI benefits, you should expect to receive your check no later than the second week of May, early May. If you receive VA benefits, this date has not yet been determined. Why is this? Well, the government and IRS has to work with your federal agency for the VA benefits in order to quickly and securely get the payments to you, because the payment doesn't come directly from the IRS, but it goes to your government agency. So they have to work with your government agency in order to be able to quickly and securely get those payments to you. Next up is if you receive Social Security disability, Social Security retirement, railroad retirement benefits. If you are someone who receives one of these three benefits, then you should be expecting to receive your stimulus check before the end of April. So if you haven't already received it, you should be receiving it within the next week. Okay, so those are the timetables on when you should expect to receive your stimulus checks if you fall into one of those groups. However, do you need to do anything additional? And the answer to this is, in most cases, you do not need to do anything. You don't need to use the non-filers tool. You don't need to use the get by payment tool. You don't need to file your taxes because a lot of these people in these groups do not need to file their taxes. However, there is one scenario that you do need to use the non-filers tool, and this is if you receive any of these benefits I previously listed, whether that's Social Security benefits, railroad retirement benefits, VA benefits. If you receive these benefits and you have a dependent who is under 17 years old, so 16 years of age or younger, you need to make sure to use the non-filers tool in order to guarantee that you will receive the additional $500 payment for this dependent. If you are living by yourself, you don't have any dependents, well then you don't have to do anything. You should receive these payments automatically to wherever you normally receive your benefits. But if you do have a dependent, you need to make sure that you use the non-filers tool. And you need to use this tool before Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Make sure to use it as soon as possible. And I'll include a link to it in the description below. Moving on, another question I've been getting a lot is, will the stimulus checks affect your benefits? And the answer to this is no. The stimulus check is a tax credit. It won't affect your benefits at all. In addition to this, there's a rumor that your stimulus check will be taxable. Your stimulus check is not taxable. You're not going to owe any of the money back. So if you receive more money than you were supposed to, let's say, for example, you weren't supposed to receive a stimulus check at all, and for some reason you got a stimulus check, or if you were only supposed to receive $1,000 and you got $1,200, as long as the check was made out to you and the IRS sent it to your account, you do not need to give any of this money back. Okay, so many of you probably didn't fall into any one of these categories. You may not receive any benefits at all. And if you don't receive benefits and you normally filed your taxes and you make less than $75,000 a year, so if you just qualify under the normal conditions for the stimulus check, make sure to use the Get My Payment tool before April 24th. If you wait until April 24th, you're not going to receive your check until the second round of payments, which could take a while. According to Steven Mnuchin, the Secretary of the Treasury, he reported that on Sunday that the Treasury has not even started to send out the paper stimulus checks yet. So if you were planning on waiting for a paper stimulus check, I would highly recommend that you go and use the Get My Payment tool on the irs.gov website in order to input your direct deposit information, because if you're waiting on a stimulus check, you're not going to receive that for a while. They're only sending out 5 million checks a week, and they're going to have to send out 90 million checks because that's how many people still need their stimulus checks. So it could take up to 20 weeks. So if you want to get it sooner, make sure to use the Get My Payment tool on the irs.gov website. Next up is I want to go over if your address has changed since you filed your taxes. And if your address has changed, the fastest, the quickest, easiest way to do this is to go to the USPS website, the United States Postal Service website. And on this, you can go to change your address. You just click on change your address and you might pay a couple of dollars. But this way, once the government sends your stimulus check in the mail, if you're planning on getting it in the mail, then it will be redirected and forwarded to your correct address. So instead of filing it with the IRS or on your tax, the best way to change your address is to change it with USPS. And you can do this online. And once you do it online, you should get an email confirmation within 5 minutes that your address has been changed. So it's actually very simple. Finally, let's go over some of the error messages and issues people have been having with the Get My Payment tool. And the most common error message people have been getting is status not available. And this comes up for one of two reasons. The first is that you filed your taxes, but they haven't processed yet, which is very possible. There's a lot of people who are all filing at the same time. If you send it in the mail recently, well then it's probably not going to have updated in the system. So if you filed them, but they haven't updated in the system yet, that could be one reason. The second reason is because you simply don't qualify. If you don't qualify and aren't eligible for a stimulus check, well then it might say status not available. Moving on to the next issue, which is a lot of people say they are continuously locked out of the Get My Payment tool. They try to input their information, but every day it says they have to wait 24 hours, check back in 24 hours, and they're locked out. This could be because you're trying to check the Get My Payment tool too often. If you try multiple times, it'll lock you out. And also, if you're trying, let's say, in 23 hours and 59 minutes and you were previously locked out, well then, it's going to lock you out again. So if you have to make sure to wait at least 24 hours. So I would recommend waiting 25 hours from the last time you checked it. And besides this point, the portal only updates once a day. So checking it multiple times a day will do no good because it's only going to update once a day. Once you check it once, the status is going to be the same no matter how many times you check it. And the last issue is that I've been hearing a lot of people say they are inputting their exact information. Everything is correct. They put their address in, but it's not taking their information. It says it's invalid. You have to make sure when you're doing this that you input every single letter, every single space, exact. So take your physical tax returns, get them in front of you, and look at how the address was filled out on these forms. If you had someone help you, whether it was a friend or an accountant, or if you did it yourself, you might have abbreviated, let's say, the word drive. Instead of using the full word drive, you could have done DR period. So make sure that you use the exact wording, the exact spelling on your tax returns, because even if one character is off, the site and the portal will not accept it and it will say it is invalid. With that being said, make sure to get your 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you sign up for Webull using my link below. 1 free stock when you sign up for Robinhood. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.